Jiu-jitsu, though? You ever looked into that one? Okay.
Yeah, why is the Jew in
But,
there?
but I don't know. Just a joke.
I know
But,
this pirate thing, though, is I've never heard.
yeah, it's
Once you start looking, it's every single time. This is not the conversation I was expecting to have today. Is what's funny. This is completely fascinating to me. I did not know the Jews were some of the main pirates.
they were pretty much all the pirates, and essentially, in that book, it explains how ancient Israelites, the Jews, created piracy. The Phoenicians were the first well-known pirates, or I guess you could say the sea peoples back in time. But the Phoenicians were people who would torment the Greeks, the Romans. They tormented the Jews in the Old Testament. They may have been the Canaanites and the Philistines, part of the same descendants from the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians were a sea power, and they were some of the biggest and earliest pirates, like in recorded history. And essentially, what they were was the Phoenicians weren't like one set of people. They were essentially offshoots of parts of Semitic culture that had colonized the coasts of the Mediterranean. And what do we see with Portugal? Would you believe me if I told you Portugal is like a fake nation? It's not an ancient people. That might piss a lot of people off. That is like
Portuguese, I don't care. Actually, I'm part Portuguese, but whatever. I claim America, so.
What's funny is that Sam Hyde and people like that will use Portuguese to like joke when they're talking about Jews. They'll say, "Oh, the Portuguese."
You can say whatever you want about it. About almost any other race, you can say whatever you want.
The Portuguese, run the world and all that.
Those Portuguese with their schemes, pirates, and.
What's crazy though is that in this book, Jewish Pirates of the Caribbean, Ed Kritzler, who's a Jewish Jamaican historian, proves and explains that Portuguese in 1500s, 1600s, 1700s was synonymous with being Jewish. The Portuguese were essentially a lot of conversos and Marranos who wouldn't play ball with Spain.
And I'm part Portuguese, damn.
Who got insulated up against the coast. And just think about their name. It's not a national identity. It's a port people. They are Portuguese.
So it's just the port.
It's like saying merchantese.
Yeah, it's such a small little country too.
Like what? Like Israel, like Phoenicia in the old. If you look at old maps of Phoenicia was this tiny little country, essentially where Israel and Lebanon are today.
But they had massive power because they had all the shipping. Yeah, for such a small country, they had so much power for a while.
Now, from those Phoenician descendants, they spread out through the Islamic world too. We get people like Redbeard. Did you know Redbeard, the pirate? His pirate flag was a lime green Star of David. I'm not even kidding. Go look it up on Wikipedia.
I'm going to look this up, I'm going to have to make a clip and put that in there. That's
yeah, look it up. Slap it on there. It's true.
He had a red beard. I've never heard any of this pirate stuff.
Yeah, and slap the book up on there too if you get a picture, or get a copy yourself. It's really good, and it's...
What's it called, just the book?
Jewish Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay, that sounds... And it's written by a Jewish guy, so it's not like, because a lot of times the best thing, that, lots of Jewish people will say this stuff in their own words and like what they think. There's all kinds of the best stuff you can get straight from the Jewish. Same with the Jewish media today. You can get them being honest.
Now, some of this other stuff's going to blow your mind too, because this gets us right up, like these kind of links, these threads carry on all the way through to today, to ruling families in America today. And so you've got the Jewish pirates going on, Jewish piracy, and Columbus taking slaves in the Bahamas almost as soon as he gets there. Mm-hmm. That's the beginning of the slave trade. So there's a myth out there that, a lot of people are saying, oh, the Jews control the slave trade. I'm not the first person to make that claim. That's been a long
people have been saying that for
standing thing. But recently there's been a gaslighting attempt to gaslight everyone and say, no, you're overemphasizing that. No, they had very, very little. No, proportionately. And they really try and get everyone lost in the weeds. And no, if you actually look at Charleston and New Orleans and the percentages, and no. Let's zoom out and look at the key figures and correct the misconceptions. Okay? The Jewish pirates of the Caribbean essentially became the slave trade. As empires would shift, Florida would be Spanish one year, then English the next, right? They would switch, and the pirates would shift allegiances. So one nation's pirates would be another nation's mercenary, and they would be legal. They would just, if you were against them, you'd call them a pirate. So when the nations change, and Florida's switching hands, and all these Caribbean nations are changing hands, a lot of these pirates end up getting legitimate positions in governments and things like that, and they'll just kind of retire from piracy.
Yeah,
and
from a pirate to now, you're a government official now.
And they'll just
screwing us over even worse once you're in the government.
They'll just be remembered as like a naval hero, or like an admiral or a captain, or something like that, or just a pirate. But a lot of these families wanted to become legit, kind of like the mafia.